Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello and welcome back to How to Paint Watercolours with me, Colin. I've stretched my paper, that just means wetting it both sides and allow it to stretch, and then just putting it on a board. Seen me do this before. So I'm just going to take some cadmium yellow for this tropical sunset and we're going to bring it across the bottom here. Relatively strong. And I'm going to take some cadmium yellow, cadmium red, and I just want to bring some in here. I want this relatively weak. Almost negligible. It just provides a barrier between the blues. Just a little bit of red down here. Seaver's blue and turquoise. Bit of water with that just to thin it out. Bringing it together, gently softening it in. Just a little bit more down here, I think. This is a stronger version, turquoise blue and indigo, just to bring in some evening dark shades. Start at the corners first, just to judge how far to bring it. This does have a slight touch of alizarin crimson in it as well, just to help warm it. Some indigo and burnt umber, just for some extra dark. I want to put some clouds in, so I'm just going to take some of this paint off a little bit because I just want some clear colour going in at certain points. And I'm going to take some light red, just drop this in here. Taking a little tip of water, just blending that in with a damp brush. I just want to add a tiny bit more burnt umber to this grey colour, indigo and burnt umber. Tickling the tops of these out, just producing some evening clouds, allowing it to mix with the other colour. just adding interest into your sky. Indigo, burnt umber with some alizarin crimson, then add some violets. Taking a little damp brush. Just adding it where I think I need it, just to bring some extra depth into the sky. Just to help concentrate your eye into the contrast areas of light. And then we're just going to manipulate some light edges into some of these cloud formations just by lifting a little paint out with the brush. Cleaning the brush. Each time you remove the paint, clean the brush. And then we're going to allow that to dry. Okay, your sky is dry, and I think you'll agree with me, that looks a really beautiful sky. And I'm going to come to this first set of background hills, and I'm just going to re-wet the area down to where the sea is. I'm taking some of the indigo and turquoise with alizarin crimson, and I'm just going to run this in along the top and just allow this to drift. Little gap for the tree, but it will fill in, but it doesn't matter because we will be going over that with some darker colour. The cliff down here. Just a little water to that to help it flow. Just strengthening it up in areas to give it some variation. Strengthen it up. This is a stronger version of that colour, indigo, turquoise and alizarin crimson. The board is set at an angle so this will flow. Just going to soften a little bit of this end with a damp brush. We'll put parts of the beach in while we're here. Naples yellow. Cover the rocks with it. Put some rocks here as well, I think, just for a bit of interest. Orange, which is the cadmium yellow deep, and cadmium red. Stroke some of this in. All this is just an underwash. Violet. Just put a little bit of this in. Touch of the light red. Now it doesn't look much like evening sand at the moment, but we'll be glazing over this. And now all this must dry. Now that set of background rocks is dry, I'm going to re-wet for our next set, and we will make these even darker. Once again, indigo turquoise with a little bit of alizarin crimson in it. Now we're just going to drop this in, just allowing it to drift down. Plenty on this one. Add some here where the rocks are, or where I'm going to put some rocks. While the paint is still wet. Just take a knife and just scratch off some of the paint. Leaving some highlights. Then with a damp brush, soften these rocks in to the beach. Touching them with some clean water on the underneath. The board is set at an angle and we're just going to soften the bottom of these edges off. Bringing it over the Naples yellow, and you see that the sand is starting to darken, and then we allow that to dry. I've just re-wetted the sea area all the way around very carefully, and I'm just going to put a line in of the turquoise and indigo mixed with some alizarin crimson just along the horizon line. I'm trying to keep it as straight as I can. Cadmium yellow deep just below it, and I'm not going to mix it. I don't mind with a little green, but I don't want a lot, so I'm just going to clean the brush each time I add it. Seaver's blue with some turquoise added to it. Quite pale, all horizontal strokes. Darker version of that colour, just with more turquoise added to it, and a little bit stronger. Once again, horizontal strokes. Indigo, turquoise and alizarin crimson. Just stroke some of this in. And we're going to put a stronger version of this in, just in places. Reflection along here from the, I don't want to overstate it. A little more in. And then we're going to allow that to dry. Now that that's dried off a bit, so I'm just taking a flat brush and I'm just going to add a little extra to these waves just to bring some definition to some of them. So I'm back into the indigo turquoise with a little bit of alizarin crimson added, keeping it horizontal. I'm just going to add some waves in, just trying to make them random. We will be taking the tops out of some of these with a little scrape just to give them some extra sparkle. Then taking some water and dropping it into the indigo and turquoise with the alizarin crimson added, and I might just drop a little bit more alizarin crimson into that, and I'm watering it well down, and with a soft stroke we can start to glaze over the beach, sending the sand into that evening colour that you can see in it sometimes. taking a little extra colour just to create a shadow here from this rock and this one. Then we're going to let this dry. Okay, now that everything's dry, I'm just taking a really strong mix of the indigo, alizarin crimson, turquoise, and I've added some sepia to it to really darken it down, and I'm just going to put the palm trees in. Some leaves out. That's roughly where I want them, length of the leaves, and we can begin to put some leaves on it. Just touching the brush on, very gently pulling forward. Allowing the paint to break at the edges. Just want to drop a little extra colour in the bottom. And taking a damp brush, just soften that colour into the beach. Just put a couple of seagulls in here, 3 I think. Have to wait for this to dry, and then we can finish this painting off. Now that everything is absolutely dry, take a craft knife and just take out the tops of some of the waves. Just take the paint off very gently, leaving the white paper exposed underneath, and this will give you the crest of the small waves that are coming in. I want to take some Naples yellow straight from the tube. Just add an highlight. This is a very dark Naples yellow. It's Mission Gold. I don't want to go wild with this. Maybe a little bit down the trunk as the light's coming across. It's getting tempting to put a little more in, maybe just 1 or 2 in here. That's all I want to do to that, I think. And now I think we get round to the really nice bit, and I hope you'll agree that it's a beautiful painting of a sunset, and once you've mounted it and put a frame around it, this would brighten up any room once you hang it on your wall. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please click the like button and consider subscribing. Subscribing costs you nothing, and you are most welcome to leave a comment. I will leave a link in the description box to the other videos I've made for YouTube. So once again, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Thank you.